so much. You you are always welcome here, Walter, when you bring money. You know, we like those big checks. And I don't think any parent uh, would ever forget the first time they dropped off their son or daughter to school and placed them on that bus and stood there for a moment watching that bus leave sight. That separation is intense and it is unforgettable. But there was also an unforgettable moment last week when the team stood at the school in Bedford-Stuyvesant, and we asked a question. We stated, how many of you have asthma? 50% of the class raised their hands. 50% of the class. And so we often think about saving our children from the visible threat, but lurking among us from the fossil fuel that was coming from the smokestacks to the exhaust that was coming from the school buses. We were feeding their healthcare crises, and we've ignored it for so long in general, but specifically in black and brown communities. Asthma and the impacts of asthma and other health-related issues that come from the exhaust. It impacts the quality of life. It impacts the economics, the days of work, hospitals, the amount of money that is spent from those little pumps. Every child in the classroom seems to be walking around with the same pump when they get an asthma attack. It impacts on their health care, unable to play some of the normal games that children play due to the challenges of having their passages shrink and they're unable to take in air. And it's a frightful sight. And Chancellor, I remember one of our chancellors we lost due to a severe asthma attack. And so this is something that is important, and I just want to take my hat off to Senator Schumer, who's not here, and the Biden-Harris team for this initiative. And thanks so much, Deputy Mayor, for putting in that grant, filling it out. And I'm hoping we get another bite at the apple, because this is not enough money. We want more. This is the big apple, so we should get big dollars. You know, and this is a big step forward towards the future by saying these yellow buses are now going to be not only safe to transport our children internally, but the outside fumes are no longer going to be harmful to the 51 new clean buses. This $18 million is going to allow us to put into our transportation system. The buses, as it was indicated, will run entirely on renewable energy. Who would have thought this was possible? But now we're seeing the possibilities materialize every day. No more dirty fossil fuels, no more harming our children by breathing in these dirty fumes. By accelerating the transition to zero-emission school buses that are far better for our children, we're creating a better future for our children. That is what is happening when government works, when we coordinate. And this was a bipartisan infrastructure law. So we took the money that both sides of the aisle came together, and with the leadership of our president, we took that money and we're looking towards the future of creating an infrastructure that is going to be safe for the children and families. And we've been talking a lot about this the last few days. We reflected on the 10-year anniversary of Superstorm Sandy, and we know the impact of it. And it's clear we must make big changes to protect our environment, our children, our future. And New York City is taking action. And when you do it here, it cascades throughout the entire country. If we can show that electric school buses operate well and are productive here, it is something that would signal the entire country. The good housekeeping seal of approval that comes from this city allows other smaller municipalities to expand on these ideas. So we are going to be expanding renewable energy and reducing emission, switching to these electrified power school buses, electrifying our schools, and a fleet of clean energy buses to get children to the destination. So it's something we must do now to protect our city and our children. And I say over and over again, we have two mothers, a mother that gave birth to us and Mother Earth that sustains us. And that love of both is going to be significant for today and for all of our tomorrows. So again, Walter, I thank you. And you welcome here anytime with a checkbook.
We'll be happy to be back with another check.